You're also going to have to bear with me that I haven't had time to do what any good speech professor will tell you you need to do in advance of a speech, and that's go over it so many times that you can recite it by heart. Part of that is I'm quoting from some material that I've read, but that isn't all that familiar to me, and I don't want to misrepresent it. I'd like to get it accurate. So there are going to be times when I'm afraid my head is down and I'm giving you figures. I guess that's all right. You're probably used to some talking heads in some of your classes. And that was the sort of education I had. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. All right, let me get started. Should I have stopped at preschool? The title of my talk reflects the uncertainty of a determination of the value of a higher education, and in particular, a liberal arts degree. The simple answer to my question is possibly, or it depends. If your definition of success is economically based, the answer to the question, should I have stopped at preschool, is a resounding and emphatic no. You should not call it quits when you are 5, and I will discuss the reasons why this is true. Yes, is true in due course. However, the question could have been answered in the affirmative. This position is put forward in a book by Robert Fulghum, who in 1989 authored the book, All I Really Need to Know, I Learned in Kindergarten. As I am sure you are aware, kindergarten occurs in the year following preschool or pre-K. So if you wish to be recognized as educated, you need to stick it out for at least one post-preschool year. According to Fulghum, the lessons you may learn are the following: share everything, play fair, don't hit people, put things back where you found them, clean up your own messes, don't take things that aren't yours, say you're sorry when you hurt somebody, wash your hands before you eat, flush, and here I'm adding to Fulham's list, if you are a male, lift the seat. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work some every day. Take a nap every afternoon. When you go out into the world, watch out for the traffic. Hold hands and stick together. Be aware of wonder. Remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup. The roots go down and the plant goes up, and nobody really knows how or why, but we are all like that. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice, and even the little seed in the styrofoam cup, they all die, and so do we. And then remember the Dick and Jane books, and the first word you learned, the biggest word of all, look. According to Fulghum, if you take any one of these items and extrapolate it into sophisticated adult terms and apply it to your family life or your work or your government or your world, and it holds true and clear and firm, think what a better world it would be. In June 2014, a New York Times article by David Leonhardt focused upon the pay gap between college graduates and everyone else. According to Labor Department statistics, Americans with a 4-year college degree make 98% more per hour on average in 2013 than people without a degree. That was up from 89% in 2008 and 85% in 1998 and 64% in the early 1980s. According to Dr. David Achter, an MIT economist who reported in the journal Science, the time cost college degree is the time cost of a college degree is almost negative $500,000. That's right, over the long haul, college is cheaper than free. Not going to college will cost you about $500,000. In 2014, among four-year college graduates who took out loans, the average debt was about $25,000. And at that time, the unemployment rate in April 2014 for people between 25 and 34 years of age with a bachelor's degree was just 3%. However, as Kahinda Andrews pointed out in an August Manchester Guardian bylined article, education should be about far more than employment. Particularly, it is an opportunity to study a subject in depth and in doing so, pick up a range of transferable skills. Graduates should leave university, amongst other things, being able to critically engage with problems and issues, have skills to research a topic and present their work, and to study both independently and in groups. It is the range of transferable skills that makes graduates attractive to employers. Is it possible to succeed without a college degree? The answer, of course, is yes. These are just a few individuals you might recognize as top entrepreneurs who never attended college. Andrew Carnegie, Ansel Adams, Charles Culpepper, the owner and CEO of Coca-Cola, Colonel Harlan Sanders, Frank Lloyd Wright, Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller Sr., Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle Software, Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's, and Simon Cowell of American Idol. However, in September 2015, John Cassaday, in a New Yorker article entitled College Calculus, What's the Real Value of Higher Education?, quotes the White House website as reporting that earning a post-secondary degree or certificate is no longer just a pathway to opportunity for a talented few. Rather, it is a prerequisite for the growing jobs of the new economy. He goes on to provide an in-depth discussion of college costs as they compare to the costs for vocational degrees. He concludes that, to be clear, the idea is not that there will be a big financial payoff to a liberal arts degree. It is there is no guarantee of a payoff from very practiced and prescribed work-based degrees either. Yet that is all these degrees promise. For liberal arts, the claim is different and seems more accurate, that it will enrich your life and provide lessons that extend beyond any individual's job. There are centuries of experience providing support for this notion. This is reflected well in William DeWitt Hyde's offer of the college statement. Hyde was the president of Bowdoin College in Maine from 1885 to 1917, and here's his offer: to be at home in all lands and all ages, to count nature as a familiar acquaintance and art as an intimate friend, to gain a standard for the appreciation of others' work and the criticism of your own, to carry the keys of the world's library in your pocket and feel its resources behind you in whatever task you undertake, to make hosts of friends who are to be leaders in all walks of life, to lose yourself in generous enthusiasms, and cooperate with others for common ends. This is the offer of the college for the best 4 years of your life. I would like to focus on the value of a liberal arts degree from a slightly different, perhaps more childish perspective. Thinking back on Charlotte's Web, Stuart Little, Mr. Popper's Penguins, and Kipling's The Jungle Book, as well as on books which I only actually know through my exposure to them as an adult reader for my own children and grandchildren, titles such as The Paper Bag Princess, The Giver, and The Phantom Toll Booth, I remembered that Norton Juster, the author of The Phantom Toll Booth, had penned a couple of other published books, including Alaric the Wise. In this book, or story, it's only 25 pages, the protagonist, Alaric, is chronicled as he progresses from a young man who knows nothing at all, or hardly anything because he could hitch an ox and plow a furrow straight, or thatch a roof, or hone a scythe, but these were only things he had to know to live, or couldn't help knowing by living. And as you may have discovered, rarely are counted as knowledge. He encounters an aging wanderer who enthralls him with his personal take on life. Passing on that, the world is full of wonders. It is everything I've said and even more. And remember, it's all out there, just waiting. Alaric sets off to pursue wisdom. His first experience was as an apprenticed artist, for surely beauty is the true aim of wisdom. But encountering disappointing, expressive failures, he decides beauty isn't everything. Alaric posits that the true measure of wisdom is utility. Confronting a repeat failure experience, he concludes that usefulness isn't everything. Innovation is surely a measure of wisdom. However, failing for the third time to find the Grail, he sets off questing and along the way masters a myriad of crafts and skills. Driven on by the belief that he would never find wisdom, he concludes that he has been a failure at everything. In his dotage, he becomes a curiosity for children and passersby, coming to the attention of the king, who pronounces him the wisest man in the kingdom. Puzzled by the fact that he was a failure at everything one day and a wise man the next, simply calling someone wise doesn't make him wise. Miscellaneous collections of facts and information are not wisdom. However, no one but the individual himself can tell someone what they are or are not. Alaric had discovered one thing. It is much better to look for what one may never find than to find what one doesn't really want. Alaric sets off and felt the freedom and the joy of not knowing where each new step would take him. As he walked along, his stride was long and strong, and it was stronger and longer than it had a right to be for someone of his age. I stride into my future with the benefits that come from a liberal arts education, and I am just as eager now as I was when I was in college for the opportunity to look, for it's all out there, just waiting, and not just for me, but for you as well. Tim Lott, in an article in the Manchester Guardian of October 30th of just a week ago, entitled "There's More to Life and People Than Academic Skills," puts forward that academic skills are just a relatively small component of a whole nexus of traits that make up a well-rounded human, including such qualities as empathy, emotional intelligence, imagination, kindness, and curiosity. In Finland, children start their compulsory government-paid kindergarten or what Finns call preschool, at age 6. Finnish schools, by the way, have received substantial media attention for years, now largely because of the consistently strong performance of its 15-year-old students on international tests like the PISA, the Program for International Student Assessment. The children spend hours of their time in play, because according to their teachers, children learn so well through play they don't even realize that they are learning because they are so interested. In the short and long term, play benefits cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development. According to Argashish Holapa, I'm not very good with Finnish names, a counselor for the Finnish National Board of Education, play is a very efficient way of learning for children, and we can use it in a way that children will learn with joy. Importantly, those things you learn without joy, you will forget easily. Perhaps there are things to be learned from the Finns and their approach to education, because according to Claire Kane Miller of the New York Times, quoting Dr. David Deming, Associate Professor of Education and Economics at Harvard, preschool class, to me, looks a lot like the modern work world. Children move from art projects to science, experiments to the playground in small groups, and their most important skills are sharing and negotiating with others. Jobs that require both socialization and thinking, especially mathematically oriented thinking, have fared best in employment and pay. These include those held by doctors and engineers. The jobs that require social skills but not math skills have also done relatively well. Lawyers and child care workers are an example here. However, the jobs that have been rapidly disappearing are those that require neither social nor math skills, like manual labor. Careful analysis has revealed that non-cognitive skills like character, dependability, and perseverance are as important as cognitive achievement. They can be taught, but perhaps at the moment this is being done ineffectively. At the level of biological determinism, one can talk of idiot savants or mathematical or musical geniuses. In these cases, we are referring to a precocious or gifted individual. I have yet, however, to see a reference to a socially precocious child. It would appear that you have to live the experience in order to be able to draw from it. Someday, nearly all work could be automated, leaving humans to revel in never-ending leisure time. But in the meantime, students should be prepared for the actual world of work. Maybe high schools and colleges should evaluate students the way preschools do, on whether they play well with others. Thank you very much for your time and your patience.